Hi everyone, it's Connor here from Durham Hearing Specialists. I hope you're doing well and welcome to another video. We've got a very interesting case here. What you're going to see in this video is very tight coils and folds of dead skin blocking the ear canal. And you can see here I'm fighting to get this out, which is a sign that it's gotten to a stage where it's adhered in some places to the ear canal. Now, the reason I wanted to share this with you is because I think it's a very, very good case of a pre-keratosis obturans ear. And I know that a lot of you watching already know what that is, but just to explain, keratosis obturans, well, let's roll back a little bit. Keratin is a substance found in the body. It's a protein, and it's very, very tough and insoluble in water. So it's in your nails, in your hair, and it forms the protective barrier that's all over your body, the outer layer of your skin. So as your skin cells are reaching the end of their life, they go through a special process known as cornification. And what happens is that the body changes that dying skin cell into something else, what we call a keratinocyte. So basically, just before the cell dies, it loses its nucleus and all the bits inside of it, and it's filled with keratin, basically. And then that skin forms the outer barrier, giving you a nice protective layer for the skin underneath. So whenever I say keratin in this case, what I really mean is dead skin. And keratosis in this example is too much skin, basically. And obturans is just Latin for blockage or blocking something up. So that's what the phrase means. Now, keratosis obturans is a rather unpleasant condition, and it's characterized by a blockage of skin in the ear canal, like we see here, but it's very dense, very compact. It's almost like a plug. Extending all the way back to the bony portion of the ear canal. So the front third of the ear canal is cartilage, nice and flexible, not necessarily a problem if there's a blockage of skin there, it's very easily removed. But when it extends right back to the bony portion, the inner 2/3, then it does become a problem. And what we find is that because you have this skin blockage which is not moving, not migrating out, and then it's being added to and added to and added to, because even when the ear is blocked, it's still shedding skin, right? So this plug is being added to and growing. What we find is a lot of discomfort, pain. You might get bleeding as you're trying to remove it. It's also associated with a remodeling of the ear canal. So what a lot of papers describe is an enlargement of the ear canal. So it's enlarged all the way around, not just in one pocket, which would be a different condition called canal cholesteatoma, but it's a global widening. And also, as you're removing it, as you're trying to get this plug out, it's often enveloped with a sort of white, silvery or pale looking kind of skin wrapped around it. And if you were to remove a plug of keratosis obturans and take a little slice of it and look at it under a microscope, you would see that it's kind of formed this plug in layers like an onion or like pastry, I suppose. So it's what we call a lamellar or laminar arrangement, basically layers and layers and layers and layers, which makes sense because the keratosis obturans plug has formed over time, and it's shed and shed and shed. So what we're seeing here is a very good example of what would have become keratosis obturans. So I rather suspect that if we hadn't dealt with this right now, then if left to linger, this would have, again, compacted and compacted and compacted. Now, the reason that this isn't quite a diagnosis of keratosis obturans yet is because although this blockage is kind of fighting me, it's not overly difficult to remove. And it is coming away with some convincing. And it's not kind of enveloped in that white, pale, silvery sheath of skin wrapped around it. And although it's beginning to tightly coil and pack, I am able to unravel these sheaths of skin. So, but it's just a very, very interesting case because it shows sort of what happens just before it becomes nasty. So as you can see here, for the most part, it's coming away with suction, and you can see just here how kind of it's starting to layer and fold, and just how dense it is. So, and normally if you have a really difficult case of keratosis obturans, you'd have to go in with a hook or a Jobson horn or crocodile forceps. So here's a fantastic example. You can see the layers starting to stack up almost like an onion. so kind of vertically in this shot right here. And it's just starting to peel away. So thankfully there's no bleeding in this case. And the patient did not find this uncomfortable at all, actually. So we can see here just these gigantic ribbons. You can see where one of the coils is uncoiling. So there we are. So unfortunately I couldn't, this was at a time when I didn't used to put it down on a tissue with a ruler, so we can't actually see the total centimetre length of these blockages. And also this was recorded using an old endoscope that I used to use. So that's why it has a little kind of notch on the left-hand side of the circle. So this endoscope was a lot bigger and more difficult to use, but the image quality was very, very good. So now we're getting right down deep into the ear canal. Again, another ribbon of skin pulling away here. And now we should be able to see the original site of blockage, and there it is. So we've got a little sort of trail of skin here, which I couldn't quite peel away. But we see now down in the ear canal, more just sort of ordinary wax, really. And there we have it. So that should be, I mean, look at that collection, just almost exclusively dead skin at that point. So, and we can just see the eardrum just in the background there, kind of grayish. And this sort of tail of dead skin here, unfortunately, wouldn't suction away easily, but it's fairly minimal. That should dry and sort of flake away as per usual. And we're just trying to get this last little piece here, and that should come away fairly easy. You can see that I can't really get the suction probe and the endoscope in where I want it, and that's because this original endoscope, the actual rod of the endoscope, was quite thick, so I did have problems. And I can just about see to safely remove it. And there we go. I'm just having to sort of walk it out of the ear canal. If you ever notice that I'm kind of moving the wax up and down or going in circles, it's because I'm using this technique where I'm kind of basically walking it or sort of manipulating it out of the ear canal, because the ear canal is quite thin in this case. And there we go. That's the original blockage there. And what we're going to do is go in, have a look at the ear canal. There's no obvious widening, there's no obvious ulceration there. And what we do have is a nice, healthy looking eardrum. It's a little red near the handle of the malleus, but overall, a very good outcome for the patient. So there we go. I hope you found this video interesting, useful. If you did, press like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.